When this is where you make your living, every day at the office is grueling, unforgiving, intense. But for this fighter, 24 years old, a 33-0 record, and the owner of 3 lightweight title belts, just when it seems his work is complete, one of boxing's most unusual champions is just getting started.
A lot of world champions, they think they're gonna make it big, they think they're gonna make all the millions in the world, and they don't plan for something else.
The Fourth Amendment protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures, right?
4 days a week, Juan Diaz trades in the headgear and gloves for textbooks and highlighters as a student at the University of Houston downtown.
My responsibilities as a fighter are tremendous. They're different from any other fighter because I do have to go to school right after the gym.
He is the quintessential student athlete. You know, you hear that term thrown around a lot. Well, Juan Diaz, he is a championship athlete and he is an excellent student.
Diaz carries a 3.0 grade point average and is scheduled to receive his bachelor's degree in political science this December.
Part of it, the 10th Amendment, is to protect us in the Bill of Rights. And it's very hard to sit down in class after a long day of sparring. I get hit in the head and I have a headache, or I didn't have a good day in the gym. I'm too tired to even pay attention.
In spite of the tremendous sacrifice and hard work and effort that he must expend, he's been able to meet every challenge that I've thrown his way.
Each day, in the red brick house Diaz shares with his family in Southwest Houston, he finds the motivation. Olivia and Fidencio Diaz are Mexican immigrants who came to the U.S. seeking a better future for Juan and his younger brother, Jose.
Yo siempre les he dicho a ellos que lo más importante es la escuela, que sean algo en la vida para que no anden trabajando así como nosotros y no los traten así como nosotros.
My parents have been a big part in teaching me how to work hard, how to go through anything that comes my way. I always ask myself when I'm feeling down or too tired to keep going, I say, if 2 little Mexican people can do it, coming from a little ranch and making it here to the United States, why can't I?
Good. His parents are looking over his shoulder at home. I'm looking over his shoulders here.
For 16 years, Willie Savannah has been the architect of Juan's boxing career, as well as an advocate for his fighter's unlikely pursuit outside the gym.
5 years ago, maybe, he said to me, Mr. Savannah, I'm getting tired of going to school and boxing. I said, fine, that's fine with me. I said, hey, you can quit boxing. He said, what? You're gonna finish school in December, then you're going right into law school in January.
I wake up at 6:30 in the morning and I don't get home till 7:30 at night, and have to sit down and get on the computer, study, or read a book. So kind of feels like jail a little bit.
I tell him all the time, look, man, when you're dead, you can rest. But from now on, it's 24/7 until you reach all the goals out there for you in this life.
In the long annals of boxing, rarely has a fighter defended a championship while also striving for a college diploma. But for Juan Diaz, this is just the beginning.
I tell him at every possible juncture, keep that head protected, buddy. Protect that noggin. You got something special there.
I'm 24 years old, and the sky's the limit for me in boxing. I want to keep doing this for another 4 years because I also made a promise to my mother that I would not be like a lot of these fighters who refuse to leave the sport. My biggest dream right now is mayor of Houston. You know, Mayor Juan Diaz has a great ring to it.
You have these cliches that are used sometimes in society about people being able to achieve lofty goals. But when someone has a demonstrated track record of lofty successes, then you really have to imagine that there may not be anything this person can't achieve.
Back live in the bull ring in Cancun. Let's look at the tail of the tape for Juan Diaz against Nate Campbell. It jumps right out at you. The 12-year age advantage for the baby bull. He gives away 1 inch in height to Campbell, 1.5 inches in arm length measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. They both weighed in within a pound or half pound of the 135-pound limit. Unofficially, both have gone up only 4 or 5 pounds overnight, indicating they're both in spectacularly good shape. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Juan Diaz-Nate Campbell fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. only the referee can stop the fight. In case it is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards. If the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim!
And while we've talked so much about Diaz, here comes one of the most unusual careers in boxing. Nate Campbell was 24 years old, stocking shelves in a Winn-Dixie in Jacksonville, Florida, when a co-worker watched him shadowbox and said, hey, you ought to try boxing. 12 years later, he is a guy who has twice been on the doorstep of world titles and now has a third chance. Emmanuel, how did Nate Campbell make it this far?
He's a very unusual man, but one of the things maybe started lately helped him. He didn't have all the wear and tear on him that a lot of guys who started too early and were burned out by the time they were 20 years old. But Nate is what we call a gym rat. He said he spent so much time in gyms, boxing and sparring and watching other guys. He picked up a lot of experience that he didn't get as an amateur.
You cannot begin boxing at age 24, turn pro at 27, and make it to the championship level unless you have punching power. And that has been the difference maker for Nate Campbell throughout his career. He's had 2 chances to get this far, Max Kellerman. Came up short against Robbie Peden twice. Is this his last shot?
Most likely. You know, Nate is also just a very good overall athlete, and that gives him an advantage. Boxing history has many examples. Maybe this will be the latest one of young, special, undefeated champions being upset by good veteran contenders who view it as their last shot at the big time.
Indeed. As you might expect for a man in his position, Campbell points to Diaz's opposition and claims, who has he fought? But of course, Diaz is coming in off impressive knockout victories against both Julio Diaz, who had a belt, and before that, Marcelino Freitas. And that means he is right now one of the hottest fighters in the sport.
Yeah, you know, he's not only universally recognized as the best lightweight in the world, he's the lightweight everyone wants to watch because regardless of how good he is, he's great to watch.
But how long can that style last, Emmanuel?
Well, I think the fact that he said he expects to box maybe another 4 years is a good gauge because his style of fighting very seldom works effectively when they're over 30 years old. The youth and aggression, don't think, don't hesitate, let everything just flow instinctively. Those type fighters, Joe Frazier, Mike Tyson, and aggressive guys again, the best careers are usually before the age of 30.
Diaz is an American born in the United States, but his name alone is enough to make him the home court fighter here in Cancun. And that burst of applause from the crowd when he came into the ring is the most excitement they've shown throughout sitting here for about 2 or 3 hours tonight. And now let's go to ring announcer Victor Perez for the official introductions.
Plaza de Toros de Cancún, Quintana Roo. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Live on HBO. Muy buenas noches, damas y caballeros. En vivo por HBO. Presentando al honorable cuerpo de jueces. Presenting the judges for this great event. Rick Bates de Florida. Bill Clancy from North Carolina. José García de Arizona. El referee, Jesús Salcedo López. Y ahora, en la esquina roja, and now, in the red corner, ataviado como matador, for the lightweight championship to 12 rounds, a 12 rounds, damas y caballeros, Nate Campbell. En la esquina azul, on the blue corner, presenting una producción, a producción de Don King, Pepe Gómez y One Punch Productions. Invicto, undefeated, Juan el Torito Diaz.
Juan.
Todo el mundo fuera del ring, por favor, everybody clear the ring,
remember the
please.
instruction of the dress room. Good luck, both you. Fight. Ready to fight.
This is a referee we have never seen before, and a highly unusual environment. Many of the biggest names in the sport have been flown down here to be witnesses, and from the get-go, it looks like it's going to be a phone booth fight in this 22 by 22-foot ring for Diaz and Campbell. And Campbell comes out as though he wants to fight Diaz's fight and take the younger fighter out of his game.
He's doing just that. He's going right after fighting this fight. I don't know if it's going to be the best thing for him, but Campbell is the big puncher in this fight here.
He's also going right to the body, Emmanuel, just as he said he would, Campbell. He said no one's really tested Diaz to the body yet.
Diaz's whiskers have held up pretty well against punchers like Freitas. Campbell's quite correct in saying that no one is really focused enough on Diaz's body, so here in the first round, particularly with the right hand over and over and over, Campbell is digging to the ribcage.
Campbell is coming out punching, but it looks he should be trying to place a punch up between the center, because that seems to be where Diaz is more vulnerable, the way he closes his right hand to try to come up between the gloves more so. But everything he's doing is over on the outside.
Nate Campbell has jumped Juan Diaz in the first round, trying to steal the initiative from the younger fighter. And now, within the last 10 seconds, Diaz has started to come back and fight more of his fight. But he's already bleeding over his left eye. Right hand by Campbell and a big one. Diaz comes back with a combination.
Maybe Campbell wanted to make that statement early, but Emmanuel, did it seem to you a sign of desperation right from the opening bell?
Well, I think he wanted to make a statement and to get some respect right away. But I think, you know, Diaz is a real calm guy, even though he doesn't have all that experience. One, he's very unusual kid, very relaxed at all times, and I don't think he's going to get raffled that easy.
However, he's bleeding above the left eye, and Campbell continues to strafe him with right hands. Both guys have landed solidly in round one. They could fight this fight in an 8-foot by 8-foot ring.
And there hasn't been any serious clinches, even though both guys are fighting with their left shoulders pushing each other, but they refuse to clinch.
Well, I've never seen Diaz clinch in any of the fights I've covered, and Campbell is here to fight tonight. People are still talking 1 week later about the tremendous fight last week between Israel Vasquez and Rafael Marquez in the 122-pound weight class. That first round was an honorable tribute to what Vasquez and Marquez did.
Beautiful one. That's beautiful one, baby. More to the body's beautiful. The body's beautiful. Keep those hands when you pull out for him, all right? That's a good jab you're using. That's a nice head movement. How you feel?
I'm good. You're seeing everything beautiful.
Yeah.
He caught him right. It's okay. You know what? He ain't gonna be able to handle you like that. Right. Okay? Well, look, when you finish punching, just step around.
Yeah, we gotta get it wrong.
Okay? Nothing more, nothing less than that. Okay? Everything is fine. All right?
Here we can see what may have been the action that caused the butt, where you see the head seem to collide right here. That could have been, but not for sure, but it could have been what caused the accidental butt. from the head of Nate Campbell hitting into Diaz.
So how good was round one? Well, by CompuBox count, they threw 196 punches and they landed 83. 32 out of 82 for Diaz, 51 out of 114 for Campbell, 70 combined power shots. That's an amazing round. Can they keep up that energy level? And more to the point, can Campbell keep up that energy level?
That's
because
more the
frankly,
case.
this is the way Diaz likes to
That's
fight.
the way Diaz fights. Campbell is a better puncher, but I don't know if he can continue at this pace that he's going at. And I also like to point out that even though Ronnie Shields isn't working up in the corner, I understand he has been the main trainer for Diaz going into this fight. After rejoining him after he left, when he had to make a decision between working with Evander Holyfield for his recent fight in Bragomov, which he chose, but now he's back in the stable and he hurt his ankle, I think, 2 days ago. Broke his foot accidentally in the hotel, and that's why he's on the floor, but he's did most of the training.
Do you think it'll affect Diaz that he doesn't have Ronnie up in the corner talking to him between rounds?
No, I don't think it will affect him. Don't forget his last fight he fought without Ronnie.
After all, Juan Diaz doesn't make a lot of tactical adjustments in his fights. He is there to bring it 3 minutes of every round. And right now, Campbell's slowing down, and Diaz is still Diaz.
Jim, that's a great way to describe it. Diaz is still Diaz, and he's going to be that way throughout the entire fight.
Can you go with it? Can you stay with it? When he keeps it up, round after round after round, okay, you can flash for a couple of minutes, but can you stay with it? That's the real question.
Nate Campbell said going into this fight that he wanted to take Juan Diaz into hell and see if he could stand it. I don't know if there's a hell deep enough I don't think Dante in his Inferno has a hell deep enough for Juan Diaz. This is exactly the kind of fight he wants to fight. Even though he has the ability to box a bit from the outside using his legs and jab, this is the kind of fight he loves. He's so easy to root for. Human interest story aside, his style makes him incredibly easy to root for, Juan Diaz.
But you know, when you look at Campbell, even though he may fold or may not, at this point, I'll give him credit. He's fighting a tremendous fight, though.
It's the best I've seen Nate Campbell look.
And Campbell looks very good in terms of the power in his punches.
And he's had some great performances, but this is the best I've seen him look offensively so far.
And speed, a lot of speed tonight he's punching with, in addition to power.
Remember, Campbell's 36 years old. Diaz is still only 24.
And yet we've seen Diaz in these kind of fights. It's usually he who breaks the will of his opponent.
Well, he's got a tough guy in there tonight, Nate Campbell.
He's trying to get a short shot. So keep moving the air for him and keep his hands up, all right? Deep breath. Fill your lungs up. Fill your lungs up. Good work. The body work is good. When you catch those shots, fire back. Keep those hands in tight when you go inside, okay? You're doing good.
This guy try to do is try to wear you down. Look, we go through hell in the gym every day, okay? Right. All right, now we're going to put his ass through hell now. Okay, listen, box him this round, okay? Get on the outside with the jab. You don't have to get in there. Look, this guy's tired as hell already now. Right. Okay, look. Okay. All this doing, he just trying to give you everything he got at the beginning, okay? Keep that left hand up and box him. Be smarter than he is right now, okay? Box him on the outside. Out of the ring.
The voice that you heard in Diaz's corner was that of Roddy Shields. Even though he's on the floor, he was the one that was giving the instructions, and he's instructed Diaz to get on his toes and to box now.
Can anybody here jab? In round two, 71 of their 73 combined connects for power shots. There, for one of the few moments, they're far enough apart for the jab to mean something.
It looked like both guys had the same idea coming out in this round, to get away and box a little bit.
Now they're trading jabs in what has become a categorically different round than the two which preceded it. And as you said, almost like it's an agreement between the two fighters, Emmanuel.
Both guys look like they got the same instructions. But the one thing about the show, they're both busy. There's still been no clinches, and the intensity is still there, whether they're fighting at a distance or in close. They have never changed up and had any dull moments at all in this fight.
Whether from the inside or the outside, it's a wonderful fight.
Campbell going back to that right hand of the body over and over, trying to take some of the steam out of Diaz's non-stop buzzsaw style.
Diaz is definitely going to be tested tonight.
Now Diaz goes to the body and lands upstairs with the right hand. It's almost as if the two fighters are trying to match each other in a series of skill tests. Who can tap better? Who can land more body shots? Who can keep up the intensity trading inside?
And yet, in the tradition of fighters like, I'm reminded of Jeff Fennick when I watch Juan Diaz, the great featherweight champion. Diaz is involved in many fights like this, where early it's hard to distinguish him from his opponent because he forces such a torrid pace. It's later in the fight, when Diaz is still fighting like this, that he usually breaks his opponent.
On the other hand, Diaz's left eye is beginning to swell, and ultimately he could wind up with impaired vision at some point in the fight. So the urgency rises for Diaz to keep the punishment up. This is a war of wills.
And even the head punches that Diaz lands a lot on Campbell. Campbell rolls a lot on him. He doesn't take the full impact of the head punches. Most of the shots he's rolling and slipping and sliding, so he doesn't get hit with the full impact. The crowd may be getting excited, but he's not getting hit that cleanly. Just like right there.
3 rounds of mayhem in Cancun. One later on tonight, Samuel Peter, the Nigerian Nightmare. His only loss was to Vladimir Klitschko, but who in his last appearance against Daniil McCline in early October in Madison Square Garden suddenly tasted the canvas for the first time, going down on an uppercut in the second round, went down 2 more times in the third round, then outboxed McCline clearly the rest of the way to ultimately come back and win the fight. Peter and his manager had spent a couple of years deriding Vladimir Klitschko for Klitschko's victory in Atlantic City when he was down 3 times by Peter and came back to win by decision. Now Peter's had the same experience, and both he and the manager say, we understand a little bit more now. You can go down 3 times and win a fight.
Time out. Come on.
CompuBox numbers through round 3. Diaz 100 out of 257. Campbell 111 out of 312. They have landed 211 punches in 3 rounds. Harold, that's amazing. How do you score that?
Okay, Jim. 2 rounds to 1. 29-28. Juan Diaz. Jim, in round 1, I thought he won just by landing a couple more shots. I thought he out-hustled Nate Campbell. In the second round, Nate Campbell, I thought out-hustled Juan Diaz. In the third round, when I fought it at a little bit of a distance, I thought Juan Diaz pulled it out by, a last-minute rally. 2 rounds to 1, Juan Diaz, and a very close fight.
Diaz now beginning to focus a little more to the body. Campbell comes back with his right hand to the body, trying to balance the scales again.
Fight clean. Go hold it.
And already, Emmanuel, I sense that the starch has come out of Campbell's punches, and he's lost the capacity to hurt Diaz.
Yeah, but even though Diaz is throwing a lot of punches, he hasn't landed the last 30 seconds. I saw the punches going, but Campbell seemed to have been resting, rolling, and picking the punches, placing his punches more effectively now. Instead of trying to fight on the volume the way he was in the beginning, he seemed to be placing his punches and making sure they're clean, accurate shots.
Better plan?
Yeah, it's a better plan now because I think that he cannot actually just out-punch Diaz and he realizes that.
The thing about Nate Campbell, it's making this such an excellent fight so far, is Diaz's ability to break his opponent's spirit is as important as his ability to break his opponent's body. And Nate Campbell is a very proud fighter whose spirit will not be easily broken.
And Nate is landing his share of clean, effective punches too in this round, particularly between the gloves of Diaz.
Yeah, that professor who was in the feature piece and who told Diaz to protect his head because it's so valuable must be cringing right now if he's trying to watch this in Houston. Don't watch. Boxing is hard on the cranium. Solid right hand by Diaz. Campbell comes back with a flurry to the body.
Stay in that body for me. Put the rest of them arms. Stay in that body for me, Nate.
Come on. Hey, Juan. Let's go. Give me some water. Come on, I like it. What my ball? Don't you love it?
Yeah.
Got to short little punches.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You understand that?
Hey, bro, relax. Relax. Okay, you got to make sure.
Listen, you're doing good. Yeah. I need you. When you finish punch, you got to walk to your left. Walk to your left. All you got to do.
Look on this eye, y'all.
That's all you got to do.
Look. You're doing everything right in the inside, but when you finish punching, you got to step around. Yeah. Okay, that's all you got to do. Look, this guy's getting tired as hell. Take your time and box a little bit this round, okay? Take your time and relax.
That's all you got to do, Juan. That's all you got to do.
Everything is okay.
That's all you got to do.
Average per round through the first 4 rounds. Campbell 35 out of 100, 2 punches per round. Diaz 33 out of 86. We go to the 5th. And you heard Ronnie Shields telling Juan Diaz between rounds, relax, things are going okay. Keep working and let him tire out.
You know, even though Diaz is doing good in these fights, but how many of these type fights can he have in his career?
Exactly what I was thinking.
It's going to take his toll. So you cannot have a long career fighting these type fights.
Where's your hand, honey? Come on.
I'm not sure who the paradigm for this in the lightweight division would be, but Jack Dempsey, Joe Frazier, Mike Tyson, face first all contact heavyweights. Short careers at the top.
Yeah, all out type fighters that fight at this pace very seldom have long careers.
And you're also mentioning home run hitters. In those big punchers.
Right. Big difference.
Juan Diaz is like a line drive hitter, and when he hits the home run, it's an accident, a happy accident.
Yes.
You see a lot of times with guys like Frazier and Tyson, they may knock you out in the first round or two. But all of his fights are long fights. Even the ones he wins, he's systematically wearing guys down, but in the meantime, it's taking a lot of wear and tear out of him because he's not really a true puncher. I was looking at the expression on his mother's face prior to the fight over there. She's very nervous, and you can see why. Just to see her son in these type fights, even though he may win, it's got to be a lot on her emotionally.
Well, if it's not going to be a long career, we should just enjoy it while it's here because it's just an unbelievable thing to watch Diaz go to work, especially against a good veteran fighter like Nate Campbell who shows up to win.
Arturo Gatti, who spent much of his career in this same weight class, was not as gifted or as fast-handed as Diaz, but once he transformed himself early on from a skilled boxer to more of a brawler, you can see it. Short career. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Speaking of face-first brawlers, while Diaz is universally recognized as the best lightweight in the world, it's Joel Casamayor who's the lineal champ. Casamayor is going to defend those laurels against Michael Katsides, who is another bruising, face-first, exciting brawler. Should Katsides beat Casamayor, the idea would be Diaz against Katsides in a fight that would, it's hard to imagine that wouldn't be a Fight of the Year candidate, as this one is, incidentally.
I'm looking at Diaz is probably winning the round, but the real clean, effective blows, pinpoint blows, are still being landed by Campbell in that estimation. He's landing a little short uppercuts and clean shots that are landing very clean and effective, even though he's losing in the volume game.
Immediately following tonight's live boxing, stay tuned for Countdown to Marquez Pacquiao 2, a documentary-style look at both fighters as they prepare for their upcoming showdown. Then 1 week from tonight, HBO pay-per-view brings you the live fight between Marquez and Pacquiao, a long-awaited rematch of the draw to which they fought nearly 4 years ago.
Keep moving that head. You're doing great. You're doing great. Let me have a little bit right here.
What's off in your jab? So what you gotta do, man, you gotta stay with it. You gotta stay with the jab. When you get close, run your combination. When you get close.
But y'all walk around and finish.
Okay? Eat that one. Eat that one also, man. Come on, everything's okay.
Everything okay, baby?
Max, you brought up Michael Katsidis, soon to appear on HBO against Joel Casamayor. What could be more exciting than a lightweight fighter who bombs like Mike Tyson and cuts like Arturo Gatti?
Indeed. Maybe Juan Diaz?
Nate Campbell has thrown more punches than Juan Diaz in every round so far. That's not easy to do.
Well, a Katsidis fight for Diaz, should Katsidis beat Casamayor, would also be interesting because it would be for all the marbles at lightweight.
Hey, Katsidis against Nate Campbell would be a fight of the year candidate as well.
But should Katsidis beat Casamayor, he'd be the lineal champ. Diaz is recognized as the best. The winner of that fight, you'd have an undisputed ruler.
If only they were heavyweights.
Yes, indeed.
Pace slows a little bit here in round 6. Good left hook upstairs by Campbell. Momentarily stops Diaz in his tracks. Juan comes back with a body flurry. Campbell targeting uppercuts as he has been all night. Diaz, 1, 2, 3, 4 left hooks. Campbell, 3 left hooks and a right uppercut. Seesaw battle back and forth.
Don't envy you doing blow by blow in this fight, Jim.
It's not radio, and thank heaven for that. The vocal cords don't exist that could call this fight on radio. Is really flowing from Diaz's left eye, and the referee is warning Campbell for a headbutt, and Diaz is being sent to a neutral corner, and Campbell is looking at us, and 1 point is being deducted from Nate Campbell all the way around the ring, but Diaz's eye's in bad shape.
I wonder if that was intentional. I couldn't see it from this angle, but I mean, if it's that serious, you know, taking a point doesn't mean anything. If he's got to try to finish up his fight in that conditions.
Now, Diaz has 5 minutes to recover from this. If I am the cut man in Diaz's corner, I'm in no rush.
It's over 4 rounds is completed.
Who's the punch?
Carl, what's the situation if that would right now, if they had stopped it on this cut? Then it's over 4 rounds completed.
Let me tell you, Manny, this is one of the weirdest things I ever saw. You can't let a fighter go over his corner and have his cut man work on him in the middle of a round. No way, Jose. The cut was caused by an accidental headbutt. The referee decided to take a point away from Nate Campbell for butting accidentally. But certainly the only thing the referee can do is call in a doctor. You can't let the cut man work on him.
In our telecast truck, producers believe that this cut was caused by a punch in the clinch. We'll have to look at the video to try to figure it out.
I agree with them, Jim. A headbutt, there was a kind of Campbell brushed his head against Diaz's face, but it looked to be a left hand that opened up the cut.
I think it was the laces of the glove on the left hand that opened the cut. I think Campbell caught him with an open glove. Let's see.
Okay, here we can see they're in the clinch, and even though he put his head there, it seemed like it came from a blow, but the blow was while they had the arms entangled in each other, so I don't know how you would call on that. And, you know, and it could have been a lacing of the gloves, so possibly also.
I think
it wasn't
he hit
that
him with
much power.
the heel of the glove and the laces. Here's another look. Nope.
No, it wasn't the heel. Wasn't the heel of the gloves.
Yes. So from our perspective, it appears that the point deduction was not warranted and that the cut was caused by a punch. But a lot has gone on in the fight so far. In that 6th round, Campbell threw 118 punches, his high output for the fight. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim. I have 58, 55, Juan Diaz, 4 rounds to 2. You got to give Juan Diaz an extra point because the referee took one away. So I've got him with a 3-point lead. Jim, I got to tell you something. Nate Campbell's got a great up jab. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but he's got one of the real good up jabs in boxing. I mean, he got that glove down around the waist, and he comes up with it, and lands that left jab constantly. Watch it, Jim, because he's one of the few guys in boxing that's really good at it. 4 rounds to 2, Diaz.
Got to watch carefully. He didn't throw many jabs until the 4th round. But that's part of Nate Campbell's athletic quality. He can do unusual things in the ring.
Diaz is favoring the eye, trying to protect it with his glove.
He is truly being bothered by that cut. I've never seen Juan Diaz so flustered in the ring as at this moment.
Well, this is pretty deep into hell.
It's deep, and we're just now getting just above the halfway mark. And that's a major factor trying to go 5 more rounds under those conditions. And not only is the eye very severely hurt, but it's bothering them.
Yes, and Campbell has invested heavily in the body shots that could slow down Diaz's buzzsaw style in the late rounds.
Emotionally, Campbell is way more comfortable with the situation than Diaz right now.
And incidentally, it is a markedly inexperienced group of judges which will be scoring this fight. Markedly inexperienced.
It's not an easy fight to score anyway.
For a fight at this level, you may be shocked to see the backgrounds of these judges when we show them to you later on. So don't be surprised if scores vary wildly from those of the most experienced judge in the house, Harold Letterman.
Yes, Campbell is landing the cleaner blows. I mean, the volume is still coming from Diaz, but the clean, effective blows for the last 2 rounds to me have been coming from Campbell.
Well, according to CompuBox count, Emmanuel, the volume is coming from Campbell too. CompuBox says that Campbell has thrown more punches in every round.
I'm surprised.
Time.
This is the sternest test of young Juan Diaz's unbeaten career. 33-0 coming in.
Take him up here. Uppercut to keep yourself working, okay? The uppercut's gonna help you stay working, all right? Let the doctor look. Let the doctor look. You say you can't see it. Continue. You can't see, Doc.
Juan, I see what they do.
Listen, keep your hands closed, all right? Look, now listen. You gotta keep your hands closed, but you gotta keep shooting uppercuts. That's gonna help you keep punching, okay? Shoot uppercuts, hook your right hand on top. When you finish punching, you gotta walk around it. Yeah. Okay, stay close to him because you can't see him now.
He put it, Juan.
Emmanuel, is that the worst possible place for a cut?
It's the worst place, but the cut don't seem to be that bad. It seems like I don't like to cut it, but some of the column don't seem to be using the right thing. It should have been adrenaline chloride or something of that nature. It seems almost look like the bottle that they're squeezing is more like a Visine or something. It doesn't seem to be causing the blood to coagulate. And that's what seems to be the problem. I saw much worse cuts, but it just seemed like they're not stopping it. And every chance that he gets, Campbell uses his elbows and his head to keep aggravating the cut as much as possible.
He also, as you mentioned, Emmanuel, is landing the harder, cleaner shots, and that's getting more pronounced. Campbell.
See, all of those punches, most of the police rolling the shoulders and taking the steam off of those punches from Diaz.
Right around this point in most fights is when Diaz starts to really break the will of his opponent. Nate Campbell does not look broken, does he?
No, and initially he's actually pushing Diaz back, something he's not used to, moving backwards. He's using his left shoulder to pushing him back a lot, and that's tiring him out a lot and taking away from Diaz's punching power, too, because he's having to back a lot when he's punching.
Well, how would Campbell's will be broken when he now has the encouragement of looking at that bad cut on Diaz's left eye? That's tremendous incentive for Campbell to keep going, as he's got a foothold toward winning the fight now.
In fact, if, just coming in, I would bet that it looks like he's going to win the fight unless things changes a lot.
Emmanuel, check the names of those 3 judges. You ever heard of any of them?
Never heard of any of them.
Okay, that's the question. What do they see?
Well, one of them, Bill Clancy, I know, was a very
Clancy's a good referee.
Good, but he's judging tonight.
He's a good referee who has only judged 2 title fights. We'll show you the names later on. Now Diaz rallies a little bit. Hits Campbell with a straight, clean right hand. For about 4 minutes, it appeared that Diaz's energy level had slumped. And even now, he's still fighting only in flurries. That's not Juan Diaz.
No.
This is not the relentless punching machine we've seen before.
And he's taking a lot of clean shots to the head right now, Diaz is.
Clean
and to the body.
And Campbell is pushing him back. That's the most important thing, I think. Physically pushing him.
This is a one-sided round, or so it would appear, in Campbell's favor. Diaz is still trying to figure out exactly how to fight with that bad left eye. It's hard to be Juan Diaz if you have to protect yourself in any way.
Beautiful work. Nice and relaxed. Get your mouthpiece.
Give me a deep breath.
Where's the mouthpiece at? I got you.
I will tell him. Okay, give me a deep breath on the mouth slow. You took the mouthpiece out there? The mouthpiece fell. The mouthpiece on the floor.
I got what? Mouthpiece, bro. I got it.
Okay, now listen.
Huh?
Keep shooting uppercuts like that over there, okay? Come on, drink. Hey.
That body work is beautiful. Keep going to war like you're doing. Just be smart. When you're in this time, you're making a little move with the head feints, make sure you move. Yeah, you're going to throw something. 5 count off him. You're doing good. He can't take this, brother. You got him in deep water. Now you got to drown him.
We got to drown him.
Keep doing what you're doing, all right?
This is a championship round, baby. Let's go.
Go get it. Go get that. What? Wait a minute. Mouthpiece.
Hobby box numbers through round 8. Campbell averaging 33 out of 101 per round. Diaz 29 out of 82. Juan with a slightly higher connect percentage. Nate landing a few more shots. Harold Letterman, you made the point, or Emmanuel made the point a couple of rounds ago, that it doesn't appear the solution that's being put on Diaz's left eye is coagulating the blood. You in the past have made the point that in different areas, different jurisdictions, different chemical solutions are stipulated as being available for this purpose. What about here?
But Jim, there's no question you can use Avitine, thrombin, adrenaline. Avitine is the best thing you can use, and it doesn't look like they're using Avitine. I mean, it looks to me as though they're using nothing but adrenaline chloride and pressure. And to tell you the truth, it's not stopping the bleeding. I mean, if I were Willie Savannah, I would have hired an experienced cut man, a guy that knows how to use Avitine and been using Avitine all along.
But you know, even if you're using adrenaline chloride, which a lot of people don't realize, you must look at the date on it. You know, because a lot of the guys, these old trainers, yeah, I've got my adrenaline chloride, but if you look at the date, it might be 1999 because they haven't had to use it. And that's a major factor.
And Diaz's cut man is a guy named Creed Fountain. And I do not mean to be disrespectful, but just as is the case with the judges, I don't know Creed Fountain. I don't know his background in the sport. I haven't seen him before. And that means that he's not one of the veteran cut men, the Joe Souzas, the Ace Maradas, rest in peace.
Well, speaking of dates and what you remember March 8th, 2008, because this is a lightweight classic. and Nate Campbell is starting to land punches that result in knockouts. The blood is pouring into Diaz's eye. Diaz does not have the kind of punching power to score a surprising knockout. He is in deep, deep trouble.
And you know what Campbell is trying to do? He's trying to let Diaz throw a right hand, roll a right hand, and return with a counter right hand. He's been missing him, but as Diaz is getting tired, that's a punch that he's better be very careful he doesn't get caught with.
No, Diaz is tired, discouraged, worried, and reducing himself to attempts to score a big one-punch knockout, which, as Max pointed out, he doesn't have the power to do.
You know, in Campbell's corner, he's got experienced guys. He got John David Jackson, former world champion, and Jim Waldrop, two really good, experienced boxing guys, and they seem to be very comfortable with the way the fight is going.
Campbell has landed his most powerful shots in this round to Diaz's head. They seem to bother Diaz, maybe stun him a little bit. And look, great fighters, the script is not written. They have to write it themselves. And if Diaz plans on being, which he does, this heroically great fighter, is going to have to come back here.
I listed only a couple of names. I could go on with the names of 8 or 10 other top cut men in the sport who might make a difference here tonight. The cut man is the guy who only becomes important when you need him, and suddenly at that moment, he's the most important man in your corner.
Where's the piece?
I got it. Okay. He ain't got nothing for you. You understand me? How you feel?
I feel like a champ.
You got 3 rounds?
I got 5 in me.
You know what? You know, short breast?
You guys want I left it. One. No.
Listen, Juan, listen.
No. When you're in the inside, you gotta keep shooting uppercuts, okay? You gotta keep shooting uppercuts and then bringing the hook and right hand on top, okay? That's gonna keep your hand moving, but you gotta keep stepping around.
Yeah, you gotta keep
close to it. You gotta stay close to it, all right? Okay? Give me a drink. Come on, give me a drink.
Round 10, round 9 was heavily weighted toward Nate Campbell by CompuBox count. He landed 43 punches in the round to only 16 for a suddenly slowed down Juan Diaz. Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim, but you know, I've got it 5 rounds to 4. Nate Campbell, there's no question he won the last 3 rounds. The problem is Juan Diaz has 4 rounds that he won early, plus an extra point that the referee gave him for that headbutt. So I've got it all even on the scorecards, but to tell you the truth, Campbell's won 3 in a row on my scorecard, and certainly momentum is all with Nate Campbell.
But no more so than even just winning the rounds is the fact that it looked like he's on the verge of winning the fight by knockout.
Exactly.
That's even more important. So even if it may be academic, the decision where it's going.
Barring a reversal, it appears we are watching Nate Campbell as he finally capitalizes on an opportunity for which he has waited so long. And Juan Diaz's 33-0 record is sinking into oblivion unless he can reverse this.
Diaz is 24 years old, known as the Baby Bull. This child prodigy was on national television at the age of 17 winning fights. Nate Campbell's a grandpa. He's a grandfather in there with the Baby Bull. And
but he's a seasoned fighter, though. He's been traveling, boxing in so many different gyms and different styles. So he's doing a lot of experience things, and it's really the maturity. It's not just the age, but the maturity they just had against a better quality of fighters is showing.
Came in with a plan and has executed it.
Yes.
And by grandpa, I mean his daughter has a child.
A real
not
grandpa.
a figure of speech.
Nope, Nate is getting married for the second time, May 17. He has 3 daughters by the previous marriage. His fiance has 3 sons. The way Nate sees it, which is the mature way, he's got 6 kids.
That's a bad grandpa, boy. Don't want to mess with this grandpa.
Body shots by Campbell.
Campbell is just
backing
breaking him
Diaz
down.
up.
He's grinding him down.
Juan
like a
Diaz
seasoned
is
fighter.
folding up like an accordion before our very eyes because of the tremendous effort of Nate Campbell in this fight.
Diaz's biggest victory is going to be to try to make it through 12 rounds in this fight. There's no way I can just, he's going to win it harder right now. But
you know, I know what you mean by folding like an accordion, Jim, in the sense that it seems like it's his spirit that's been broken, that he seems to think Diaz, maybe this is not such a winnable fight at this point, but he's soldiering on right into the teeth of Campbell's attack, and he's continuing to throw punches and showing a lot of heart, I think, as always.
No, he's showing a lot
I think I properly stand corrected there.
But I do know what you mean.
No, I was over dramatizing it. Folding like an accordion isn't fair. You're exactly right.
The fighting spirit, though, Jim, I know what you mean, does seem to have been beaten out of him a bit.
He's not Juan Diaz. At this moment, he isn't the baby bull. And when you look at that eye, it's easy to see why.
You guys think you're in for it. Huh? I got it. It's dangerous. It's done? Yeah. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. You want to stop it?
The doctor got to stop.
Yeah, no, the doctor got to stop. Which one was it? You let him. Let him.
Hey, referee! Hey, ref!
Hey, ref. Thanks like your eye. John, David. Baby. The greatest trainer in the fucking world. You're doing it, baby. You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. Nice, relax. Stay within your game plan. Every chance you get whack in there and come back with a hook, you're doing beautiful. You're doing beautiful.
The last 2 rounds have been a wipeout in favor of Nate Campbell. He's landed 79 punches in the last couple of rounds to only 27 for Juan Diaz.
It seems as if the corner of Diaz is trying to get the referee to stop the fight, probably hoping that maybe they can go to a scorecard maybe in their minds and possibly win the fight because of the scorecard being ahead.
It looks like it isn't going to happen.
And
Nate Campbell's talking to you. And what did he say?
He's just nodding to me, telling me that he's doing everything he said he would do. He indeed is. He pulled a good veteran move before the start of this round, getting up and whooping it up, celebrating, further discouraging Diaz, who could barely get off the stool.
This is the 11th out of a scheduled 12.
Diaz may be getting beat, but he is still fighting. He's never given up trying to fight, though, which is very impressive to me. And this is something he's never been in this situation in his life.
Watch it. Hey, hold on.
So, in case you missed it at the top of the show, as they were walking in, Nate Campbell was 24 years old, ghetto product who had been, by his own admission, kicked out of high school for troublemaking. He had excelled in a variety of sports but hadn't really stuck in any of them. He was working as a stock boy in a Winn-Dixie in Jacksonville on the overnight shift. To keep himself awake, he would shadowbox from time to time. A co-worker saw him shadowboxing and said, "Why don't you go to the gym and box?" Nate decided to do so. In the next 3 years, he won 3 Florida State amateur championships. But he was 27 years old before he ever turned professional. So to become a world champion in the lightweight division is an amazing accomplishment off that background.
And what I gather, too, he's an amazing man and an amazing father, too. With his family,
from Max Schmeling's upset of Joe Louis, we've seen special, glossy, undefeated young phenoms upset by hungry veterans who perceive their opportunity as the last they'll get. And this was what we're seeing here. And going into this fight, that was the case. And Campbell recognized the opportunity.
And to give credit where credit is due, you teased that on the walk-in, Max. You pointed out there's a long tradition in the sport of fighters like Diaz coming a cropper against guys like Nate.
Well, that it's continuing, but Emmanuel, what about those scorecards?
But you know, I don't know about the scorecards, but I know one thing. I would say this: normally when you get upsets, it's when a guy underestimates his opponent. And as Larry Merchant say, when you underestimate an opponent, he becomes a serious opponent. In this case, that was the case. Diaz is prepared. He's prepared. It's just Nate Campbell is fighting a tremendous fight.
Agreed. Great show. 11 rounds down, 1 round to go. Nate Campbell on the verge, perhaps, of a career-defining victory.
Hey, deep breath.
Hey, what?
My friend.
Watch his legs.
My friend, last round. Mug has got to be careful. You gonna try to come out early?
Do the uppercut, hook the right hand. But keep stepping around with the hook. Keep stepping with the hook, okay? Give it to me, baby. Pull the stand back. Pull the stand back, okay? Up to the back, I need you, God. Yes, sir.
They can't take this from you. Beat the shit out of them. Keep doing what you're doing.
Be smart. Be smart. Don't stand up straight.
That's right. Move that head for me. Bend on knees a little bit. I know it's the last round.
I'm going to work.
Brother, I know you've been working.
Right now.
Last round, baby.
Smart.
Last round. Last round. Be smart. Don't get careless. You understand me? Don't get careless. Come on now.
Wait.
In round 11, Campbell with a 33-11 edge in power connect.
And they came out.
Campbell swamping him.
They started to get another 12th round like they did the first round. They came out, put their heads together, and started punching right away. Same way they started out the fight. You know, Campbell was telling them, you know, taking the chances. He's still got to go out. He's got 1 point they took against him still. It still is a pro-Mexican environment here. So nevertheless, he still needs to try to win this round big. And so many of those early rounds was controversial. And Diaz is not a dangerous puncher. You know, that's one thing. If he took his punches for 11 rounds, it's very unlikely that Diaz is going to knock him out in the 12th round.
Hey, stop it. Come on.
There have been sledgehammer shots on both sides. Enormous intensity from the opening bell. Campbell facing the deficit in mid-fight of the penalty after he was ruled to have butted Diaz. The real butt came in the first round, and we'll show it to you momentarily if we reach the final bell.
2 or 3 rounds ago, it looked like Diaz had enough, and his corner was ready to pack it in. He was late getting off the stool. They were procrastinating before they sent him out for the round to buy time, and he's still there in the 12th and final round throwing punches, Diaz.
An amazing young fighter, even in apparent defeat.
Stop it. Come on. Alexander, clean fight. Come on.
Incidentally,
Hey.
one of the men who beat Nate Campbell in this division was Joel Casamayor. Casamayor reportedly said that Campbell would win this fight.
Well, I tell you what, Campbell would be winning the fight if he fought Casamayor himself too right now, the way he looks tonight. You know, it's interesting. He's fought twice for the World Championship, has always came up short, and now he's fighting, and finally looks like he's going to win the first time a World Championship. And against a guy that he probably had less of a chance, looking at it on paper, than all the other guys he's fought.
Well, I mean, Campbell has won this fight unless there's a knockdown that occurs right now. Whether or not the judges give it to him, it's pretty clear that he is the winner here.
Hard to imagine that they couldn't have seen clearly over the course of the past 5 rounds what's happened here.
They're finishing up just the way they started, toe to toe.
All the way down to the bell. Both fighters are lifted up, and as the blood flows from Diaz's badly mangled left eye, Campbell celebrates his terrific performance in the fight. A quick look at the events of the fight, beginning in round 1, and here you're going to see the headbutt, which first caused the cut on Diaz's eye. So that indeed was a butt, which first created the cut over Diaz's left eye. But there was no penalty at that time. It was only later in round 6 when that punch opened the cut up further, but the referee blocked on the other side of the action, ruled that it was a headbutt, and deducted a point from Nate Campbell. From that point forward, however, Juan Diaz was a compromised fighter. And as he worried about the eye and tried to fight his way through the flow of blood and the swelling, his punch output went down, and Campbell was able to land more and more precision shots. I mentioned the inexperienced judging crew. Rick Bays out of Florida, 39 title fights. Notable fight, Clint Woods over Glenn Johnson in a spirited fight, split decision for Woods.
I see Don King is up in the ring.
Bill Clancy
a referee from North Carolina mostly, only 2 title fights as a judge. Recently, Roy Jones over Anthony Hanshaw, not a difficult fight to score. And Jose Garcia, 24 title fights. Only in boxing could you have scored 29 so-called title fights and not have had a notable fight up to this point. Harold, what is your scorecard?
Okay, Jim, 115, 112, 8 rounds to 4, Nate Campbell. He totally dominates the last half of that fight. I mean, he won 6 rounds in a row on my card, clearly won 6 rounds in a row. I think he clearly won a fight, Jim.
To go along with the inexperienced judges, we have a relatively inexperienced local ring announcer who has already proven tonight that he doesn't really know the proper sequence for presenting a score while keeping suspense. So if he does what he's done before, you may hear him telegraph exactly who has won the fight before he manages to conclude giving the scores. Don't be surprised, particularly if it's a unanimous decision. 36-year-old Nate Campbell with the fight of his life. He almost got into the championship realm in a fight against Robbie Peden when he was doing well against Peden and began showboating, and at one point stuck his chin out and was knocked cold.
Well, he didn't make that mistake
He didn't make that mistake tonight, did he? Now, what were you going to say about King earlier?
Don King is up there verbally really going off on the referee. I mean, he's very upset. I think because the referee took that point away, which Don felt that it was unfair because it wasn't an accident, but and figuring it may be a factor in the decision.
Well,
Nate Campbell is his fighter.
Yeah, I started to say, Don has a dog in this hunt.
Yeah.
He's had an ongoing dispute with Juan Diaz's manager, Willie Savannah.
And that's putting it
Savannah and Diaz have made clear that they are leaving Don King after this fight. They're finished with that contract, and they've made a lot of, or at least Savannah has made a lot of scathing public statements about King. King, for his part, put up signs at the weigh-in here expressing his side of the argument with Savannah and trying to claim the high ground, demonstratively making it a big issue in front of writers and all media who are here. And King is a co-promoter of Nate Campbell, so it's pretty clear where his allegiance lies. Meanwhile, we still wait for the scores to be tabulated and for the, as I said, relatively inexperienced local ring announcer to prepare to deliver the scores. And now he has it. Let's go to Victor Perez to see who's won the fight.
Damas y caballeros, ladies and gentlemen. After 12 rounds, después de 12 rounds, tenemos el score de los jueces. We have the score of the judges. El juez Rick Bays, Judge Rick Bays. $114-113 para Diaz. El juez Bill Clancy, Judge Bill Clancy, 111-116 for Campbell. 111-116 para Campbell. El juez Joe Garcia, Judge Joe Garcia, 112-115, 115 para Nate Campbell.
So by split decision, the highly questionable judging crew manages, in our view, to get it right. And Campbell has his well-deserved victory over Diaz, and young Diaz, who was valiant as always, suffers his first loss. CompuBox numbers will heavily favor Nate Campbell because it was a landslide down the stretch. He lands 126 more punches. He throws almost 100 punches per round. And he winds up landing at a higher connect percentage as well. And the difference will be more exaggerated in power punches, where he lands 117 more, throws 171 more, and again lands at a higher connect percentage. Let's go to Max Kellerman with the winner.
Congratulations, Nate, on an incredible fight. What a performance. You're obviously very emotional right now. It's been a long road. What are you feeling right now?
I feel great. I just feel great. I just want to thank God for giving me all the strength to do this. I want to just say hello to my daughters and my stepsons at home. Oh, man, Eric, I did it. Jeff, I did it. Pastor, you can go home, man. I did it.
You've had a couple shots before. You came up a little bit short. What did you learn from those experiences that allowed you to go out and just whip the best lightweight in the world?
I told y'all he wasn't the best. I've been telling y'all for...
Well, now you're the best.
He wasn't the best. I'm the best lightweight in the world, and nobody believed me. I had some shortcomings before, but I want to tell y'all, it's a blessing just to be here. I fought my ass off to get here. Everybody who knows me, I work hard as I can work to get here.
Why did you come out so fast, going to his body with both hands?
Because I knew he couldn't take it. I just knew he couldn't take it. I knew that I was a bigger puncher, I was stronger, I was faster, I could box better. I knew I was the better fighter.
When the point was deducted for a punch, it was not a headbutt as the recording shows. What were you thinking at the moment the point was deducted?
Oh, well, here we go. Let's work. Let's work.
Before hearing the decision announced, did you think you were going to be robbed in this fight?
If they took it, the police lights was going to have to be on outside because it would have been a highway robbery. I fought hard, man. I fought hard.
It would have been a highway robbery, and we would have said so. Nate, you now have all the belts. You're the #1 lightweight in the world, but the lineal champion is Casamayor, who has said that you have given him his toughest fight. He's fighting Michael Katsides. Would you fight the winner?
That's Don's job. That's Don's job. Don and Terry, handle that. I'm gonna enjoy these titles. I'm gonna go kiss my fiance. I'm finna go celebrate with the best trainer in the world, John David Jackson. But my cut man, Jimmy Walter, all my guys, we're going out to eat. We're gonna have a good time and let them fix that out.
Congratulations, champ. Richly deserved.
Show, Diaz. Good show, man. Go to the other TV.
Juan, were you surprised by the way Nate came out so fast in the first round?
A little bit, Max. You know, I got out of my game plan. I let him come in. I didn't start with my jab, so you know that affected me from the beginning.
Why were you unable to break Nate's will? A lot of guys come out fast against you, and it seems as though it's anyone's fight, and by the late rounds, you've taken over. Why were you unable to break him the way you've broken everyone else?
Well, the reason, you know, I wasn't able to establish my jab, I didn't listen to my corner. They were telling me the right instructions, but I just couldn't establish my jab, and that's what I usually control a lot of the guys with my power jab, break them down to the body, but I just couldn't do that tonight.
Though you fought bravely as always and continued to fight, it did seem by the 9th or 10th round, your body language, the way you were late getting off the stool, that maybe you thought that you couldn't beat this guy. Had he ever convinced you during the fight that you couldn't win the fight?
Well, you know, I have a big heart, and I wasn't going to give up. I was going to keep going to the end. I knew the fight was close at one point. You know, the referee saw it in his way, and that's the way it happened. I came out every round trying to give it everything I got. You know, I want to thank my team. I want to thank God for letting me make it and finish the 12th round.
So in other words, you felt that you'd built the lead, and even though you were losing the later rounds, you felt if you could survive, maybe you could win a decision?
Well, I wasn't thinking about winning. I'm a true champion. I want to finish to the end no matter what the outcome was going to be. I just wanted to finish the fight and give these great fans a great fight.
And you certainly did, as always. Congratulations, Juan.
Muchas gracias, y les quiero dar gracias a todo el público de México por apoyarme, y que los bendiga Dios.
Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Max. And let's look ahead to boxing on HBO immediately following tonight's live show. It's the premiere of Countdown to Marquez